I never imagined I'd be starting over at 25. The military had been my life for 4 years, and I was working part-time at a small restaurant in Oregon to save up some extra money before my service ended. That's where I met her. She was 30, finishing up her medical degree, and also working at the restaurant. We started as friends, sharing jokes during slow shifts and covering for each other when needed. One night, after a staff party, everything changed. She drove me home since I'd had a few drinks, but we ended up talking in her car for hours. That night showed me a different side of her, beyond the busy medical student. There was someone who loved old movies, dreamed of traveling the world, and had the most infectious laugh. We started dating soon after. Our first date was supposed to be a quick coffee, but we ended up spending the whole day together, walking around the city and talking about everything and nothing. Within months, I was completely in love. She was different from anyone I'd ever met, smart, ambitious, and she made me want to be better. When my service was coming to an end, I took her to her favorite Italian place and proposed. I had it all planned out, the ring hidden in my jacket, the special table by the window, even the exact words I want to say. But when the moment came, I forgot everything I had planned and just spoke from my heart. She said yes before I even finished asking the first question. The first year was perfect. We moved into a small house together, spent weekends exploring the coast, and built what I thought was a strong foundation. My family welcomed her like a daughter, especially my younger sister, who finally had the big sister she'd always wanted. Her parents treated me like their own son, invited me to family events, and teaching me their holiday traditions. But things started shifting in our second year. I was working full-time at a construction company while taking evening classes in architecture. It had always been my dream to design buildings, and she had encouraged me to pursue it. The time we spent together decreased, and I could feel her becoming distant. I tried everything. Planned surprise dates, weekend getaways, small gifts, but nothing seemed to bring back what we had. I remember the night I decided to drop out of school. We were sitting at dinner, barely talking, and I realized I couldn't remember the last time we had had a real conversation. My thinking was simple. I could always go back to study, but I needed to save my marriage first. I told her about my decision, expecting her to protest or at least show some emotion, but she just nodded and went back to her phone. Looking back, I realized it wasn't just about the time apart. She had a pattern, getting excited about something new, then losing interest once the novelty wore off. I'd seen it with hobbies she'd start and abandon, with friendships that would burn bright and fade quickly, but I never thought I'd be another thing she'd grow tired of. The signs started appearing slowly. First, it was her phone, always face down, always with her password changed regularly. Then came the late nights at the hospital, which made sense for a medical resident. Except she'd get defensive when I asked about them. She stopped wearing the necklace I'd given her for our first anniversary, stopped sending random texts during the day, and stopped showing any interest in physical affection. Even a simple hug from me was met with coldness. I knew something was wrong, but proving it in our state was another matter entirely. I started paying attention to the little things. The way she'd step outside to take calls, how she closed her laptop when I walked into the room, the new clothes and makeup she started wearing to work. Each small thing could be explained away, but together, they painted a clear picture I wasn't ready to see. She must have noticed I was pulling away, because one evening, she broke down and confessed to having an inappropriate relationship with a colleague. Through tears, she swore it wasn't physical, that they'd just gotten close working long hours together. She promised to end it, suggested marriage counseling, and said she'd do anything to save our marriage. I wanted to believe her, maybe needed to believe her. So I agreed. We went to counseling for about a month. The therapist was good, asking tough questions about her relationship with this colleague that seemed to make my wife uncomfortable, questions about boundaries, about what exactly made the relationship inappropriate, about why she let it continue if she knew it was wrong. She stopped going after the fourth session, but things appeared to improve between us for 6 months. I had my wife back. She was more attentive, more affectionate, more like the woman I'd fallen in love with. I pushed my doubts aside and focused on rebuilding our marriage. Then the cycle started again, the same signs, the same behavior, the same excuses about stress and our age difference. When I tried to talk about it, she would dismiss my concerns or turn around on me, saying I was being paranoid or controlling. Our intimate life completely stopped, and we became like strangers living in the same house. I'd come home from work. She'd be on her phone or laptop. We'd make small talk about dinner, then go to bed facing away from each other. Everything came crashing down one afternoon when I came home early from work. She was sitting on our bed, crying. For a moment, I thought maybe she was ready to be honest with me. She told me she was pregnant, and for a split second, I felt joy. Then reality hit me. We hadn't been intimate in over 4 months. When I asked how far along she was, she said 8 weeks. The math didn't add up, and we both knew it. I left the room, needing space to process what this meant. She followed me, and what came next was like a script I'd read too many times. It was just one time. It meant nothing. I only love you. The word sounded hollow, rehearsed, like lines from a bad movie. I told her I needed an hour alone and drove to an empty parking lot. That's where everything changed for me. I cried, but when the tears stopped, something else stopped too, my ability to feel anything for her. It was like a switch had been flipped, turning off all the emotions I'd ever had for her. When I returned home, I was different. She talked for 20 minutes straight about how we could work things out, how the baby would need a father, and how happy I'd look when I first thought it was mine. I sat there in complete silence until she begged me to say something. That's when I told her that if she wanted any chance of saving our marriage, she needed to tell me the truth. The real story came out. It had been the same colleague from before. The affair had never ended, and it had always been physical. He was pressuring her to end the pregnancy, but she wanted to keep it. She thought we could raise the child together, start fresh, build a family we'd always talked about. As I listened to her confession, I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just emptiness. I told her pack enough for a few days and leave. She refused, trying to hold onto my arm, crying harder, even trying to kiss me. I walked away and locked myself in the guest room. The next morning, I called several lawyers before finding one who understood my situation. The pregnancy itself was proof enough for a fault divorce in our state, but I didn't want to wait that long. We discussed an uncontested divorce and mediation instead. When I got home that evening, she tried to act like nothing had happened, even tried to initiate intimacy. The thought made me sick. We sat down and outlined the divorce terms. Our main asset was a house, and most of our debt was from her medical school loans. I gave up my claim to the house. She could sell it and keep the money. I wanted her to have something for the baby, even if the child would never be mine. In the end, I walked away with just my truck, some clothes, my tools, and a few military mementos. Everything else in that house felt contaminated by lies. I couldn't imagine keeping any of it. The divorce took 14 months to finalize. I saw her twice during mediation meetings. She was heavily pregnant by then, but I felt nothing seeing her like that. She was a stranger to me now. I had already moved to Arizona, taking a job as a park ranger. The pay wasn't great, but I had peace. I bought a small house near the national park where I worked. It needed work. The roof leaked. The kitchen was straight out of the 70s and the yard was overgrown, but fixing it up gave me something to focus on. I adopted a German shepherd from the local shelter, named her Luna, and she became my constant companion. She goes to work with me most days, riding the truck and walking the trails with me as I do my rounds. The job suits me. I spend most of my time outdoors, either alone or with Luna, maintaining trails and helping the occasional lost hiker. My coworkers are good people, but they respect my space. I'm not the same person I was before. I used to love being around people, going to parties, making new friends. Now I prefer quiet evenings at home or weekends camping in the backcountry with just Luna for company. I tried dating a few times in those first 2 years, but my heart wasn't in it. The first woman I dated after the divorce turned out to be married. I found out when her husband called me. The second was nice enough, but I couldn't bring myself to care when she stopped calling. The third said I had emotional walls and needed therapy. Maybe she was right. My family worries about me, especially my sister. She came to visit last summer with her college roommate, spending a week at my place before heading to California. During their stay, she told me I seemed different, clothes off. She even set up a dating app on my phone while I was sleeping, started conversations with a few women, and made me promise to keep talking to them. I deleted the app as soon as she left. My boss and his wife have also tried setting me up with various friends and relatives. I've started telling them I'm seeing someone just to avoid the conversations. I hate lying, but it's easier than explaining that I'm fine being alone. They don't understand that I'm not unhappy. I'm just different now. 3 years after our divorce was finalized, my ex-wife found my number. I don't know how. I wasn't hiding, but I wasn't exactly easy to find either. She called one evening while I was making dinner. Her voice sounded the same, and for a moment, I was back in that restaurant in Oregon, meeting her for the first time. She said she just wanted to check on me, see how I was doing. But as the conversation went on, her real reason became clear. She'd had a daughter, now 2 years old. The father barely saw them, only paid child support because of court orders. She was lonely, unhappy, missing what we had. I told her I was sorry she was struggling, but it wasn't my problem. I explained that she'd broken something in me that couldn't be fixed. I told her I didn't love her anymore, couldn't love anyone that way anymore, and didn't want any contact with her. Her choices had affected 3 lives, hers, mine, her daughter's, and the only choice she'd left me was to walk away. After that phone call, I started thinking more about how much I'd changed. My sister had been right. I wasn't the same person anymore. The park psychologist noticed, too. She'd stop by my station sometimes, and we'd talk. After a few conversations, she suggested I try counseling. I resisted at first. I wasn't oppressed or angry. I was just different. But after my sister's last visit, where she spent 3 days begging me to get help, I decided to give it a try. The counselor seemed good at first, asking reasonable questions about my life and work. Then she asked when I last felt truly happy or sad. I had to think about that one. The last time I'd felt any strong emotion was the night my marriage ended. Since then, everything had been flat. Not good, not bad, just okay. After a few sessions, she diagnosed me with PTSD and emotional numbness. She wanted to refer me to other doctors, get me on medication, run tests. Suddenly, being just okay was a condition that needed to be fixed. I've started wondering if this is really a problem that needs solving. Is it so wrong to be different after what happened 3 years ago? Today, my divorce was finalized. I don't think about her much anymore. Sometimes, I can't even remember what she looked like, which seems strange for someone who was supposed to be the love of my life. The night she told me about the pregnancy, and the affair feels like a lifetime ago. I remember it clearly, but it's like watching a movie about someone else's life. The red flags were there. I knew something was wrong long before she confessed, but knowing and accepting are different things. Luna has been with me through all of this. She's more than just a pet. She's my partner. We patrol the trails together, camp under the stars, and she seems to know when I need company without demands or expectations. People find it strange that I talk to my dog more than I talk to them, but Luna understands me better than most humans do. Last month, I met someone while working. She was a wildlife photographer staying in the park for a project. We talked a few times when our paths crossed, and she asked me out for coffee. She was nice, smart, independent, passionate about her work, but when she started talking about future plans, about wanting to get to know me better, I felt that familiar urge to retreat. My coworkers tell me I'm shutting myself off from life, that I'm too young to give up on love. Maybe they're right, but I'm not sure I'm giving up. I think I'm just accepting who I am now. The old me died the night my marriage ended. The person I am now is quieter, more solitary, more careful with trust. The counselor says I've built walls to protect myself from being hurt again. She's probably right, but these walls also give me peace. I've found a quiet kind of happiness in my simple life. My work in the park, my home, my dog, the occasional visit from family. It's different from the happiness I used to know, but maybe that's okay. Yesterday, while hiking one of the more remote trails with Luna, I found a spot where you could see for miles mountains, forests, and skies stretching out endlessly. Standing there, I realized something. Everything passes. The good things, the bad things, they all fade with time. My marriage the pain of betrayal, even the person I used to be, they're all part of a past that's slowly fading away. Some people say time heals all wounds. I don't think that's true. Time doesn't heal. It just helps you get used to the scars. I'm not the same person who fell in love in that Oregon restaurant. I'm not the same person who cried in a parking lot after learning about his wife's betrayal. I'm someone else now, shaped by those experiences, but not defined by them. My sister keeps telling me I need to get back out there, that I'm too young to spend my life alone. But I'm not alone. I have Luna, my work, my small circle of friends who understand my need for space. Maybe someday I'll want more than this, but for now, this is enough. The counselor gave me some papers about support groups for people who've been through similar experiences. They're still sitting unopened on my kitchen counter. Part of me knows I should probably go, should probably try hard to be more like my old self, but another part of me wonders if that's really necessary. 3 years after the divorce, I built a life that works for me. It's not the life I planned, not the life others might want for me, but it's mine. I'm not happy in the way I used to be happy, but I'm at peace. Maybe that's enough. Maybe being just okay isn't such a bad thing after all. The sun is setting now, and Luna is nudging my hand, ready for our evening walk. Tomorrow, I'll wake up early, put on my uniform, and head out to patrol the trails. I'll probably see some hikers, help some lost tourists, maybe spot some wildlife. It's a simple life, but it's real. And for now, that's all I need.